Yeah, you make sure, because when I do it, I'm not as tech savvy, so it would be good to have backup.
Okay, you want to share something, Andrew?
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm just
No?
gonna
Okay.
kind of speak to the
Okay.
group.
All right.
I am Andra. Yeah, or there's we're gonna start with Boris
I was
then.
going to introduce you, but go ahead. Go right in there.
Okay. I'm Andra with the Veterans Business Outreach Center of the Pacific. Our area that we cover, just so that you know, is all of Hawaii, Guam, and American Samoa. And we are a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. Our main mission is to do what we call boots to business, where we go on base, and when those transitioning out members choose a track. Our track is the entrepreneurial track, which is a 2-day event where we give you the basics of how to start a business. Excuse me. We also do what we call reboot, where we go off base and we condense the same content, but we teach it just in 1 day. In addition to that, we do training like this one. Excuse me. We do training. We love to get together with the Apex because you guys are, especially the Guam Apex, because you guys are so on it and you help so much, especially our clients, not just on Guam and American Samoa, but here in Hawaii. So we really appreciate that partnership. And we also have other classes that we offer. And if it's an online class, we try our best to make sure we include all the different times, here in Hawaii versus Guam and American Samoa with all those different the schedules on that. But just to let you know, in addition to our vet certification, we also do the SAMS.gov with the Guam Apex, and that'll happen in November. So we'll definitely keep you in touch. And what I'd like to do is if someone does not want to be in on our um, database, we usually send out events that's happening. So let us know if you don't want to be on it, and then I'll take you off. Otherwise, the rest of you, I'll put you onto our database, and we usually use constant contact to get, the word out. Okay. And so now it's going to be Boris, and he's going to do an introduction as well as going straight through to the certification. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Let me just set something up here. Okay. All right. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And this special webinar of how to get VOSB and SDVOSB certified. And we're doing this obviously in conjunction with the VBOC of the Pacific, who's one of our great resource partners. So let's just get started here. Um, Hafade, aloha, welcome everyone. My name is Boris Hertzett. I'm the program manager for the Guam APEX Accelerator. This slide tells you a little bit about what we do. We provide one-on-one counseling as well as group workshops and webinars for anybody that's going after a government contract. So if you're going after a federal government contract or a local government of Guam contract, we can help you with those contracts. We are funded by a grant from the Department of War, Office of Small Business Programs. The University of Guam hosts our program, so our offices are at the University of Guam inside the School of Business and Public Administration. I'm in room 116, or I'm in 117, and our procurement counselor, Victoria, is in room 116. Some of the highlights of our program. We have over 700 active clients in our database. There's over like 2,000 clients in our database, but about 700 are actively pursuing government contracts. In FY25, those clients won over $600 million in contracts and subcontracts. And we've helped a bunch of clients get HubZone certified, which is a small business certification that you can get for your small business. It's very popular in Guam and the CNMI just because all the islands are HubZone. It's not like the states where like maybe one county is a HubZone and then the neighboring county is not. So it's a lot easier to get that certification out here. Some of the partners we work with, of course, the VBOC of the Pacific. We're also part of NAPEX, the National Apex Accelerator Alliance. So we are just one Apex Accelerator. There's 90 plus Apex Accelerator offices across the nation. And so our coverage area is Guam, and then we also assist with the CNMI. And then anybody who wants to possibly get a contract on Guam, we can assist with as well. But we have our alliance we can go to, find out what's going on with government contracting, all the latest updates, and then we share that information with our clients. We also work quite a bit with the SBDCs, so the Guam SBDC and then the CNMI SBDC. So their SBDCs are there for people who are maybe starting a business or expanding their business. Maybe they want to get some business development. That's what the BD is. So maybe they want to put a business plan together to take it to a bank so they can get a loan, whatever it is. They can help you with those kind of things. So please go see them if you need those kind of services. We don't do business development. We strictly focus on government contracting. And of course, the SBA, the Small Business Administration, they have some small business certifications. We're going to talk about two of them today, the veteran ones. But they also have the Hub Zone, the 8A, and the Woman-Owned Small Business Certifications. They also have a mentor protege program where a small business can team up with a large business, form a joint venture. And even though there is a large business involved in that joint venture can still go after small business contracts. And so that's known as the SBA Small Business Mentor Protege Program. So if you want to get help with any of those programs or certifications, we can assist you with that. Going back to the types of assistance we provide, like I said, it's all government contracting related. So if you're brand new to government contracting, we'll sit down with you. We'll find out what products and services you're selling, and then we'll find out which agencies are buying those products and services. And then we'll get you registered in SAM. Like Andra was mentioning, there's going to be a SAM webinar hosted by VOSB in November. But we'll get you registered in SAM. It's basically a database of all federal contractors. And then we'll help you find opportunities, which are also located in SAM. And then if you find something you're interested in, we can help you with your proposal and your quote. We can't write it for you, obviously, but we can give you tips and suggestions on what to include and what not to include. And then win or lose, we can help you with the debrief process. You're entitled to a debrief. And depending on the complexity of the contract or the solicitation, they will, let you know your strengths and weaknesses of your proposal. And that's always something good to know so you can do better the next time. So basically, start to finish of the procurement process, we are here to assist you. All our services are free of charge. These webinars are always free of charge. And our counseling is free of charge and confidential as well. We don't share your information with anyone unless you allow us to. So please take advantage of our service. Let me just show you one more slide about us if my computer wants to work with me today. Here we go. So here's our website, guamapex.com. If you want to sign up as a client, please go straight to that website. There is a sign up as a client button. Click that, and that'll put you in our database, and then we'll reach out to you. There's our phone numbers and email addresses as well. We also have our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. So if you want to know what's going on with government contracting updates, things like that, what the Guam Apex is doing, please like and follow those pages. And then, like I said, our webinars are all free and we record them and post them on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and just search Guam Apex, you'll find all our videos and you can watch them whenever you like. So like I said, everything's free of charge. So please take advantage of our services. So as we dive in this today, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat as we go along. I will be checking the chat and we can answer them as we go along. Or if you want to wait till the end to ask a question, that's fine. We can do that as well. And of course, this webinar is being recorded and I will send the link to the recording when it's posted on YouTube to Andra, and then she will share with all the attendees. And then I'll also send a copy of this information that we're going to go through today, this webinar right now. So let's go. So why become a federal contractor? Well, there's lots of money in federal contracting. I'm sure everybody knows that. I just want to show you a little snapshot of what's happening in Guam. Over the last 5 years, you see federal contracting has gone up quite a bit. We're probably going to hit another $3 billion for FY26 as well. And that's because the Marine Corps base is being built on Guam, the first new Marine Corps base in the U.S. in over 50 years. So that's pretty exciting. So if you want to get involved in federal contracting, lots of money being spent on Guam. And it's not just construction. A lot of people, when they see this, they think, oh, this is just construction. Well, buildings need things put in them. So there's all kinds of products they need. They need services as well to maintain the buildings. You need janitorial maintenance, yard maintenance. You need security system maintenance, all kinds of things. So all kinds of different product services are required for this buildup and for all this money that's being spent in Guam. I got some other slides too, since this is a joint session with the VBOC of the Pacific, and they did say on their flyer, right, they had a Hawaii time and an American Samoa time, so I wanted to include a snapshot of those places. So if you want to know what's going on in Hawaii, here we go. You can see here some federal contract spend, quite a bit more than Guam. That makes sense. Hawaii has a lot more people than Guam, quite a bit bigger. But you can see, 6.7 billion in FY24. Quite a lot went on that year. A little less in FY25. And I'm not sure what the outlook is for FY26, but probably I would imagine it's going to be in at least the $5 billion range. So quite a bit of opportunity in Hawaii again. American Samoa, little smaller place, but here's what they got going on. So there is opportunity. So there's American Samoa for you. And again, I don't know what the plan is for FY26 or how close we're getting to the $12 million for FY26, but hopefully it's somewhere in that range. But it looks like American Samoa has been up and down. So but just want to share this information with you to show you that there is spend happening in the various islands out here. And all this data, by the way, comes from a site called usaspending.gov. And that's where contract information is public information because it's taxpayer money that's being spent. So they need to post that somewhere, and that's where they do it, on usaspending.gov. All right. So we're going to talk about veteran-owned small business certification and service-able veteran-owned small business certification. So let's get right into it. Let's look at a couple definitions here. What is a veteran? There you go. This comes straight from the Cornell Law site, which is basically the federal acquisition regulations are in here. The Code of Federal Regulations are there. If you ever hear the term FAR, when they're talking about government contracting, the FAR are the federal acquisition regulations. It's the Bible of federal procurement, basically. But there's a definition of veteran. Basically, anybody who's been active duty. Basically, if you have a DD 214, you are a veteran. That's pretty much about as general as it can get. Service disabled veteran, you need a disability rating. So you need to get a rating by the VA that says there was some kind of service-connected disability between 0 and 100%. So you might go, wait, 0? 0 counts? Yes, 0 counts. So as long as you went through the rating process and you got 0, maybe they're saying, hey, we're not going to give you anything, but you're going to get a 0. But you did get a rating, you are considered a service disabled veteran. So, all right. So just some more facts on the program here and some requirements. Basically, there are two certifications. There's the service disabled veteran owned small business, and then there's the veteran owned small business. The service disabled veteran certification is recognized by all federal agencies. Well, I can't say all, most federal agencies, especially most of them in the executive branch. So Department of War, Department of Energy, NASA, all these different agencies recognize service disabled veteran, and there are set asides for that category, meaning a certain percentage of government contracting needs to be set aside for this category for service disabled veterans, and currently that percentage is 5%. It's a goal. It's not a mandate. It's not a law. It's not a regulation. It's a goal. So a lot of federal agencies try to meet that goal as best as they can, but that is one of in reality, one of the harder goals to meet. But there is that goal. So, like I said, all federal agencies, or most federal agencies, recognize service disabled veteran. If you want to get veteran owned certified, only one agency recognizes that certification. That's the VA. There is some talk in Congress about adding a government-wide or a federal government-wide veteran-owned certification. It just hasn't happened yet. Legislation needs to happen for that to go into effect. But that could happen because it's come up multiple times this year and a few times last year. So who knows? Maybe some kind of bill will get pushed forward. And there is a big push for veterans right now. So um, we'll see. Hopefully that happens. Let me just see something popped in the chat here. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, Andrea. So Andrea's asking everybody who's on the webinar today if you could just maybe type your name in the chat, so she can just take a roll. But we also got Victoria will also be doing, I think, some screenshots and figuring it out as well. So we'll coordinate all that. But it makes it a lot easier if you can type in the chat who you are. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, um, some of the rules and regulations for both these programs, at least 51% of the companies got to be owned by veterans. So that's the minimum ownership requirement. So if you have a 50-50 company, it's not going to work. The veteran owner must have the majority ownership. And then the big thing here is the third bullet point. They got to have full unconditional control of the company. Now, there are some exceptions to that, especially if it's a service disabled veteran and there's a caregiver involved, that kind of thing. But normally, the veteran needs to be making all the short-term decisions. The veteran owner needs to be making all the long-term decisions. They cannot be overridden by any of the other owners if there's multiple owners in the company. They have to have unconditional control of the company. And like I said, the federal contracting goal is 5%. For the VA, it's 7%. And if you're doing business with Gov Guam, they also recognize the Service Disabled Veteran certification, and you can get a 5% price advantage in Gov Guam contracting. Meaning, if you're competing for to sell something to Gov Guam, and the lowest bidder was $100 and you were $105, you would be considered still the lowest bidder because you get that 5% price advantage. So that's what that's all about. Okay. I see things popping in the chat, but I think they're all names. So let me just, yeah. Okay. No questions. Good. All right. So one of the big or pluses for this certification is if you get certified as veteran owned or service or veteran owned, you will have access to the federal surplus personal property donation program. But it's a mouthful, but that's just basically GSA's program for when agencies have surplus property, like maybe they have extra desks, maybe they have extra chairs, maybe they have extra vehicles, they have extra computers, whatever it is. They all are supposed to go into, well, not all, but some of it needs to go into this donation program that veterans, service-disabled veterans, certified veterans and service-disabled veterans can have access to, and they can use this property in their business. So it's not for personal use, even though it's personal property, it's for business use. So maybe, some agency has extra desks and chairs, and you get certified as a service-disabled veteran. You can contact your representative in your state for this program and find out if there's extra, tables and chairs or desks and chairs, and you could actually acquire it for free and use it in your business. So, and here's the contact information, and we got this off the website there, but there's the link to the website. But here are your people that you can contact in your area. So I don't know how up to date this information is, but this was as of I just pulled this off 2 days ago. So hopefully it's accurate. All right. So how do you get certified? Well, you got to go to a website. Everything's done online. So you got to go to certifications.sba.gov. This is basically SBA's new website for the four basic small business certifications, the 8A, the woman-owned, service-disabled veteran, and HubZone. It's all done on this website. So before there was four different websites, but a couple of years ago they condensed or combined all of these certifications into one website, and they call it the UCP, the Unified Certification Platform. This is where you go. So we're going to go through the process. We're going to pretend we're brand new. We've never applied for this. We don't have an account, and that's where we're going to go through that process: how to set up the account, and then how to go through all the screens and look at all the eligibility requirements. Okay. So, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, or you can wait till the end as well. But what you're going to do is you're going to get to this page here, and there's a little sign up login button on the top right. I know it's on the bottom of the slide here, but it's actually on the top right of the screen, and you're going to click that. And then it's going to say, all right, what do you want to, it's going to find out if you're a regular person or an SBA employee. We're all regular people, so we're going to click sign up, log in, and then it's going to get to the login page basically. And this is the first time we're doing it, so we don't have the email address and password set up yet. So we're going to click the sign up button there on the bottom that says don't have an account, sign up. That's what we're going to do. We're going to click that. And then it's going to say, all right, put in your first name, your last name, your primary email address. Um, Probably best, just as a tip, to use the same email address you're using when you're logging into SAM. Oh, by the way, probably should have said that earlier. You do need to have an active SAM registration to apply for this program. So you do need to have your company registered in SAM. SAM's the, like I said, System for Award Management. It's the database of every federal contractor. So before you can actually even apply for this, you need to have your SAM registration active and running. So. All right. So you're going to agree to the terms, click sign up, and then it's going to send you a passcode to your email address. You're going to stick that in there. That's just verifying your email address works, basically, and it's yours. And then you're going to create your password. It's got the rules there, typical of most government sites. So you're going to do that. And then it's going to say, all right, now you got to continue on to verify your identity. So this is a new thing they added maybe 6 to 8 months ago. And we're going to get to a couple screens here, but it's not working as great as it could. Click continue to verify your identity, and then it forces you to log in again. So you're going to log in. You're gonna get the verification email. And on that email, you can just like click on the email, or there will be a code on that email, and you can just type the code into the application that we're doing online. So it's probably easier to just copy the code from the email and type it onto the online application because you might be checking your email on your phone on a different device or something. So, but you want to do everything on your laptop here. So check your email, enter that verification code on the screen, and then it's going to ask you to set up your security methods. So you can do the identity verification now is what's going to happen. And so then you're going to have to put in your SS number, your date of birth, your phone number, and your address, basically. It won't accept PO boxes, so just know that. It's got to be a street address. Click continue, and then you're going to see this little message that says, hang tight, we're setting up your registration. And then it gets to this screen. Now, this is the screen they added, like I said, 6 to 8 months ago, where you need to verify who you are. And you can do it two ways, which is kind of weird because it's really the same way. You can have the your computer camera take a picture of you, and then you're going to have to, take a picture of your ID, and then it's going to match, see if everything matches. Or you can just manually upload a copy of your ID. It's just basically the same thing. So you're also going to have to upload a copy of your Social Security card. So I don't know if everybody's got their Social Security card laying around. Probably a lot of people don't. But that's what you're going to have to do. And if all goes well, you're going to see this success, and then you'll click finish and you'll be able to move on. But we've been hearing from a lot of our clients that this part is causing a lot of issues. Sometimes they try to take a picture of the ID and it just won't line up right. Or if they upload the manual version there, they, upload a copy that they've already taken a picture of, it won't accept the upload. So all kinds of crazy things are happening. So if you're having an issue with this portion of the application, there's really, I wish I could help and solve it, but I really can't. It's a technical thing that's going on with their website. So there's a couple things you can do or a couple ways to communicate with them. You can call them at the 1-866 number we have at the bottom. It's basically their help desk. Or you can email certifications at sba.gov or email CLS at sba.gov. And basically you just tell them what the problem is. Some of the problems we've had before is, like I said, it won't accept the picture of the license or the SS card. Sometimes it gets in a loop. It forces you to upload it and then it'll accept it. And then when you go to the next screen, it'll say, oh, there's a problem. Then you have to go back and do it again. And it just goes over and over and over. That can happen. So whatever the issue is, try to take a screenshot of the error if you're going to use the email function. Or even if you call them, because if you call them, sometimes they'll say, and you're talking to them, they'll say, hey, can you email me the error? And they'll give you an email address to email it to. So, just have a screenshot of the error and what's going on. Something did pop in the chat here. Let me see what's going on. Oh, what kind of format? JPEG? Yeah, JPEG and PDF is both fine. They both should work. So PDF is more common though, I think. So, but yeah, so there are issues, and just know this is probably the hardest part of the entire application, getting past this identity verification. Um, so there's also issues. Well, we'll get to that on the next screen. But this is the main issue that people have with the site. Okay, so. Once you get past that, though, you should see something like this. It might look a little different, and you might not even see this screen. And it's okay. You don't need this screen. This screen is actually for people who have been invited to the application, and I'll talk about what that means later as we go through the process here. But since you're the one first doing this application online, you're not invited. You're the one who's actually doing it. So you might not even see this screen. But if you do see this screen, just click begin and just move on. And then what you got to do is claim your business. And this is why you need to be registered in SAM because you've told the SBA who you are, but now they want to know, okay, what business are you connected to? What's your business, right? So SAM is their vetting tool basically, because everybody who wants to be a federal contractor is registered in SAM. And so you have to connect yourself to the SAM registration. So you have to put in the UEI of your SAM registration, the cage code connected with your SAM registration, and your EIN number. That's your tax identification number or EIN number, right? From IRS, the employer identification number. It's the same thing. But it's the one from the IRS, not your local. Some local states like Guam issues their own ID numbers. Maybe Hawaii does it too. I don't know. But it's got to be the federal TIN or EIN. If you're a sole proprietor, you would put in your social security number. Um, so, and then it's going to go search SAM and try to connect the information to say, it's going to say, hey, is this you? Basically and it's going to pull up your information. So here it pulled up my information and it said, okay, is this you? And then you got to say, yes, I confirm that I'm the owner of the business being claimed and next. So this has to be done. I don't know if it was a little warning. Let me go back a screen. Yeah. So there's a little warning on the left side of the screen here that says this should be completed by the primary qualifying owner. The owner should be doing this, right? It should be their email address, their information when the first time doing this because the system is automatically going to assume by the questions it asks going forward from these screens that it's asking the owner. And some questions only the owner is going to be able to answer. So um, that's how it works. So make sure it's the owner of the business that's doing the claiming here. All right. So then you're going to select your business structure. So what are you, an LLC, corporation, partnership? Um, in this case, it was sole proprietorship, and it's just going to make sure that matches with what's in SAM. So then after you claim your business, it directs you to your home screen like your dashboard kind of. And this is your basic home screen where it shows your company name, your UEI, and then what's going on. Do you have any certifications? Do you have any applications in progress? You can check your business info to see if it's all correct. If something is wrong with your business info, you're going to have to go to SAM and fix it because it just pulled all that information from SAM. You really can't fix it here. So this is showing I got no active certifications. So there is a blue manage button. It's on the top right. It's not on the screen because the screen is really wide. And I didn't want to take the screenshot or make it really small, but there's a blue button that says manage. So you're going to click that button and then it's going to say, all right, what do you want to do here? And we're going to apply. We're going to start a new certification application. That's what we want to do. We want to apply for veteran owned or service-able veteran owned. That's what we want to do. So click start. And then this screen pops up, assign a delegate. So again, this is if you've already started the process as the owner, but maybe you're going to now hand it off to someone and let them answer some questions. But at the very end, the owner's still going to have to be the one who attests. So you can assign a delegate if you want, but most people just do it themselves. But that's up to you. So click next. And by the way, the screen might look a little different because I think they did change the fonts and everything. It's just when I logged in, I couldn't find this delegate screen. So, um, all right. I think it only happens the first time you start. So. All right, so here's the actual application process. If you can see on the top of the screen, there's like a little gray bar. Um, sorry, someone's just logging in right now. There's a little gray bar, and then it turns blue as you complete different sections. So the assign a delegate section turn blue. Then there's the ownership section, which is like light blue as you go through it. And then there's control and operations, program selection. You can see there's all these different sections. So that's just like a tracking bar of your progress inside the application. So let's just go through the screens here. First question is select the type of owner from the drop-down menu. And the choices will be individual or organization, meaning is the company owned by a person or is the company owned by an organization like another company, which is possible because maybe it's owned by an Alaskan Native, maybe it's owned by an American Indian organization, maybe it's owned by a Native Hawaiian organization. So that's a possibility. So you just got to pick what type of owner you are. Most of us, it's going to be individual. Okay. There were some people who just logged in the last few minutes. If you did, please just type your name in the chat. That way, BBOC of the Pacific, they can track who you are and make sure you get this information. All right, so select what type of owner you are. In this case, it was individual. And then you get to this screen where you have to put in your first name, your last name, things you've already done, kind of, your title, your position, right? So in this case, it was the owner, your email address, your phone number, what percent ownership of the business. So if your business has multiple owners, the majority owner, the veteran owner, or the service able veteran owner would be the one doing this first. And they should have at least 51%. So let's say it's a business with like maybe 60, 20, 20 type of ownership. So the veteran would put in 60% of the ownership here. They would put in their gender. They'd put in if they're a veteran or service disabled veteran, U.S. citizen, yes or no. And then the social disadvantage, if you want to apply for 8A or not. I'm going to get to that in a second. So just ignore that for a second. And then they would click save. And then it would save and it would show your information like you see on the bottom right of the screen here. And then you could put in the next person, the next ownership percent, the next owner and what percentage they have until all the owners are inputted, basically, is what you're doing on this screen. So enter all your owners until you reach 100% and then click save after each owner. Going back to that 8A. So this, and also whatever the owner, the majority owner puts in here will determine which certifications they can apply for. So, for example, on the gender, if they put woman, then they will have the ability to apply for the woman-owned small business certification as well. And then on the 8A social disadvantage, if they put a category like um, Alaska Native, American Indian, um, Native Hawaiian, Asian, anything basically that's not white. If they put that in there, they'll have the ability to apply for the 8A program. Now, what I want to just caution you right now, a little sidebar here, the 8A program, which is a certification program for small businesses that are socially and economically disadvantaged, is pretty much on hold right now. There has not been a new 8A company certified for over a year already. There has been no new ones since August 2025. So if you're thinking of applying for that program, you can expect to wait 2 years probably before you ever get certified, just because it's happening under this administration and who knows what's going to happen in the next administration, but I don't see that changing at all during this administration. So, um, just know it's going to take a while to get that certification if you want to do it. And if you do it at the same time you're doing your veteran certification or your service-able veteran certification, it's going to hold up your veteran certification. So my advice to you is if you're interested in the 8A program, don't do it now. Do your veteran, do your service-able veteran, get that certification, and then go back into here and then apply for the 8A. Do it that way. Just don't do them at the same time. Okay, so that's my little advice on that. All right, so after all your owners are entered, you hit your 100%, you're going to click next. And then you're going to see this screen. Sorry, my computer is doing funny things. I'm trying to get something to disappear and it won't disappear. There we go. All right. And now you're going to list all the partners, board members, officers, managers who are not owners. These are the people who don't have ownership percentage, but maybe you have a board of directors or something, or maybe you have a partner who just part of the company, but they don't have any ownership percentage. But they're recognized as a person who does some kind of decision making. So you're going to have to list those people as well, and then click save after each person. So you can see the more complicated your ownership structure, the more people are going to have to get involved. Um, okay, so why are you doing this? Remember earlier when you saw that screen that said, "Do you have an invitation?" These are the people who are going to get invitations. They're all going to have to contribute to your application. So, all right. So the are you a license holder? That is usually let's say you're a construction company and your veteran owns maybe 60% of it or even 51%, but you're not a construction person. You don't have on Guam, they call it an RME or a responsible management employee, who has the actual contractor's license. So you've hired someone who has that and they're not a veteran. So they would be there and they'd say, yes, I'm a license holder. And then they'd have to say, what license do you have? That kind of thing. So that's only basically if your industry you're in requires some kind of license and the veteran owner does not have that license. That's what that question's for. Okay. All right. So based on everything you've entered, it tells you, okay, these are the things you can apply for. So in my case, it was the veteran and then the hub zone because I'm in Guam and all of Guam's a hub zone. So you could apply for that. But we're not going to talk about hub zone today. We're just going to talk about veteran and service disabled veteran. So what you want to do is then click the little circles next to the title there of the ones you want to apply for. Even though a service disabled veteran is automatically a veteran. So if you do go for the service disabled veteran certification, you will get both automatically. It is recommended that you click both circles if you're going for service disabled veteran. Click the service disabled circle and click the veteran circle. Why? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me, but I had a chat with some people from SBA and that's what they told me to do. So that's what I'm telling you guys to do. All right, click next. Just a little side note here. If you wanted to know what all the certifications are, there they are. So if you qualified for everything, those are all the different ones you could apply for. That's what the maximum you could see on your screen. So, okay. So now you got to finish these cards basically. So there's different sections of the application. There's 7 cards that they're called, and you just got to go through them one by one. And the program, the online system will just automatically guide you through the program. Through the 7 cards. So you're going to click next, and it's going to take you through the first card, which is your prior current SBA program. So this is basically asking you, hey, has your company ever been certified by the SBA for any of the other programs, like woman owned or hub zone or 8A? And if so, who was the owner of the company at that time of the certification? That's basically what they want to know here. They're talking about third-party certifiers. That only applies to the woman-owned. That is the only program or certification that allows different organizations to provide the certification. So then they're known as third-party certifiers. So if your company went through a third-party certifier for woman-owned, they just want you to disclose it here is basically what they want you to do. Okay, click next. And there's a little answer the questions and scroll down basically. So some business information. They always put this warning on every page as well, letting you know that if you change something, you're gonna have to go back and restart your application. So has your business ownership, legal structure, or name changed in the past 2 years? So if it has, they want to know about it. And do you have a franchise agreement? The reason why they're asking about the franchise agreement is some franchises are considered small businesses and some are not. Like, for example, rent-a-cars, right? You could be like a Hertz rent-a-car dealer or an Avis rent-a-car dealer. Um, I'm pretty sure Hertz dealers or franchisees are not small businesses, but I know there's at least one rental car franchise that is allowed to be a small business. So, and SBA has a list of those. So if you need a list, you could probably contact the SBA. But that's why they're asking that question, because some are small businesses and some are not. And these are small business certifications. Only small businesses qualify for these. So, okay. And then they want to know if you're sharing any of the following with any other businesses. So are you sharing office space with another company? Are you sharing employees? Are you sharing equipment? Are you sharing services? For most people, it's not applicable, and they'll just select not applicable. Are you having any agreements or receive financial support from any other companies? that may impact ownership or control. So maybe you getting a loan, not maybe from a bank or a credit union, but from there are private companies that give out loans, venture capitalists out there that give out loans, and maybe they have some kind of agreement in place that, hey, if you don't pay on this loan, we take control of your company, whatever it is. Those are the kinds of things they want to know about. Because remember, they want to make sure the veteran has control of the company. Is the applicant business doing business under an assumed trade or fictitious name? So if you're doing a DBA, they just want to know what your DBA is. The reason for all these kinds of questions is known as affiliation. They just want to know if there's affiliation going on and if anybody else is controlling your company besides the veteran. That's why they're asking these questions. All right. Are there any professional licenses required to operate the business? So again, it depends on your industry. So if there is a yes, if you say yes, you're going to have to enter the legal name of the person who holds the license name, and then an explanation as to why they have that license and not the veteran owner. And, happens a lot. So whatever it is, just explain it. If not, select no. All right. And then because remember, this is the veteran owner, the majority owner is the one who's doing this. It's like I said, they're the ones who set this all up. So it's going to be asking them about themselves. So what's their race and ethnicity? What's their date of birth? What's their country of birth, SS number, phone number, and then their home address. What is their home address? And again, that needs to be a physical street address. So answer those questions, scroll down. Let me just go back to this. On the home address, the best thing to put in there is the address that the VA has on file for you, for your home address. So, if you haven't changed your VA address for whatever reason, or maybe you want to contact the VA first to find out what they have on file for your home address. And if it needs to be changed, change it with them first, and then you can put in the correct address here. Whatever it is, just know that what's going to happen is they're going to compare that address to what's on the VA file because you're not going to upload a DD-214 or anything like that. They're just going to check the VA and they're going to make sure everything matches. So you want it to match what the VA has on file. All right. Have you gone by another name? Yes or no? And then if you're married, yes or no? So click next. And now we get to the federal relationships section. So, are you currently debarred, suspended? So basically, is there a problem with your company when it comes to doing business with the government? Most of us, the answer is no. Are you past due on any federal taxes? So this is all about the owner of the company and the company if it's a good company or not, right? Good character, they call it. Have you ever received an SBA loan? Some people have. You might have gotten a disaster loan and things like that. It might have happened a long time ago. So if it's yes or no, look at that. Again, this is for the company. So if the company's never had one, then no big deal. But if you're sole proprietor, remember then the company's you. You're the legal owner. It's your name. So that's where that question can be a little tricky sometimes. Are you or is any member of your household an SBA employee? And then is any member of your household a federal employee, GS-13? The reason they're asking for that is because if they are, you might have to get some permission from your um, office or wherever you're working with your federal agency to actually be a federal contractor. Because in general, if you're working for the federal government, you usually can't be a federal contractor if you're employed by the federal government. But there are some exceptions, and so you'd have to look to your agency to get some kind of a waiver on that. That's why they're asking these questions. All right. Then describe your managerial experience. So what makes you able to run a company? Put that in there. If you have just a little side note here or a little tip, if you've gotten an MBA, right, a Master's of Business Administration, if you got an MBA, you can just type that in there. I have an MBA, and that's enough. But in general, you just need to explain maybe a little bit about your background, what makes you able to run this type of business that you're running. And then, do you have ownership in another business? Are you engaged in outside obligations, such as holding another job? And are you or your ownership interest subject to any conditions or agreements that could cause ownership benefits to go to another person? Again, that's kind of a control issue again. But basically, the point of these questions is, remember, you need to be as the veteran owner or service sales veteran owner running the business full unconditional. And full, they mean full time. So if you have another business, they're going to wonder, well, how are you running two businesses when the business that you're applying for one certification for, you're running it full time? How do you have time to do something else? That's basically their question here. And you just need to explain it if you're doing that. But the general rule is if you're running a business, let's say a construction business, and that is a, I don't know, 8 to 5 business, it's actually probably like a 6 to or not or whatever. It's a long time, but a normal 8 to 5 business, and then you're running a retail store that's also an 8 to 5 business. They're going to question that, go, how can you be in two places at once? How are you doing this? But if you're running a construction business from 8 to 5, and then you also own a restaurant and you work the night shift, okay, that's explainable. Nothing's intersecting there. So that's the reason why they're asking these questions, because you've got to be running your company full time. All right. So if you have ownership in another business, they're going to ask you, okay, what's your title in the other business? What's the business's name? What's your ownership percentages if you have employees? And then, of course, how can you devote full time? So, and then you're going to start building your resume. So, which is so strange because you're going to have to upload your resume too, but they force you to do it here and then upload it later, which I don't know, seems to me duplication of effort, but that's the way it is. So start putting in your start date of your current job, whatever it is. And then, of course, the end date is not required because it's your current job. And so there's no end date yet. Put in your title, whatever your responsibilities are, and then currently held, yes or no. And then I believe there's a little save button. I don't have it on the screen here, but you'll click save, and then it'll say, okay, you can put the next job in now. And then click save, put the next job. Just kind of work reverse chronological order of all the jobs you've had, basically. So just, if you have a resume already, you can pretty much copy paste it in here. Um, and then for the last question, do you manage and supervise the day-to-day operations of the business? That should be a yes. That's one of the requirements to be eligible for the program. So, then they have these immediate family member questions. So, does your immediate family members own a business that conducts business with you? Does the applicant business have any financial relationships with outside businesses that are operated by a former colleague? So, all kinds of, they basically want to see what kind of relationships you have with other businesses. If there's family things, again, this goes back to affiliation. I'll explain affiliation here shortly. And does the applicant business have any employee, officer, or manager that formerly was your employer? So, if you say yes to any of these, you're going to have to explain again what's going on, a little more explanation. But basically, affiliation is when you're sharing equipment, facilities, employees, management with other companies, they might say, okay, well, although you two are separate companies, you're pretty much affiliated, meaning you're kind of like acting as one because you're sharing all this stuff. And if that other company wasn't there for you to share with, your company might not be in business. So you need each other. And so that kind of shows affiliation. And then what they'll do is they'll say, this goes back to small business rules, right? So small businesses all have a certain threshold depending on I'm going to get a little in the weeds here, but on your primary NAICS code. So when you set up your SAM registration, you have to tell the government all the goods and services you're selling, and you have to pick one as your primary. And these things are called NAICS codes. Well, that NAICS code has a limit on it. So depending on what it is. So let's keep using construction. The construction NAICS code limit is 45 million. So if you're doing more than 45 million in annual revenue, you are no longer a small business in the construction industry. You are now a large business in that NAICS code. So if you're affiliated, let's say you're doing, I don't know, 30 million, and then you're affiliated, they find you affiliated with a company doing 20 million. Let's just say that happens. Well, what they'll do is they say, okay, since you guys are affiliated, we're going to count you as one. So now you're doing 50 million, 30 plus 20. That puts you over the threshold and you are no longer a small business. So you could not qualify for this program because this is a small business program. So that's what they're trying to figure out here. Figure out the connections to make sure you're not affiliated. So if you are affiliated with a company, but it's, we're doing 1 million and they're doing 2 million, well, it's not going to put you nowhere near the threshold. So it's no big deal if you're affiliated. But that's what they're trying to figure out here. Okay. All right. Are you a former employer of any of the qualifying owners? Are you the former majority owner? Again, the more affiliation questions, right? Are you the highest compensated person in your company? So in general, for that last question there, very rarely, should you say no to that? It'd be very rare, but normally that's a yes because you, as the veteran owner, need to be the highest compensated person. Some exceptions would be maybe you're in the IT industry and you have a guy on your staff or a woman on a person on your staff who has some kind of license or certification, some kind of tech certification that they went to school to get, and it's required in whatever your industry you're in, or it's required in whatever kind of projects you're doing. And it's required that they be the highest paid because that's the general salary in that industry for that type of person. Well, that could be an explanation of why you're not the highest compensated, but it's a rare thing. So, all right. So those are all the questions. Now we're at the document upload. You notice how I said it didn't ask you anything about your veteran status or anything like that. And on the document upload screen, you know where you're going to upload a DD-214. So that information where the owner puts in the home address and their social security number and all that, that's the information they're going to use at the VA to make sure that you're a veteran or a service disabled veteran. So in the document upload section now, so that you're going to upload some proof of things. So if you're a corporation, you're going to upload your articles of incorporation. If you are an LLC, you're going to upload your articles of organization. If you're a sole proprietorship, you're probably going to upload your fictitious name certificate, which is your DBA, doing business as. It's on Guam, that's your business license as well. It's the same thing. You will have to upload meeting minutes. Uh, Sole proprietors don't have meeting minutes, but that upload thing is still there. And but it says there if you don't have um if you don't have meeting minutes, don't upload like a document saying we don't have meeting minutes. Just ignore it, basically, is what it says on the screen when you're looking at the upload section. So um you might have to upload proof of U.S. citizenship for the owners, at least, right? Because these companies need to be owned 51% by U.S. citizens. And then a 1040 Schedule C, that was for a sole proprietor. If you are a corporation, you're probably gonna have to upload your 1120, things like that. Proof of your EIN number, maybe, possibly. Not all of it, all depends on what kind of company you are and the ownership structure. So, and then a resume, you have to upload a resume. So, all right. And then as you upload the document, again, PDFs are fine or JPEGs are fine. It'll tell you, okay, it'll ask you what kind of document is this, and you pick from the list. What is it? Oh, it's a resume, or it's my articles, whatever it is that you're uploading. It's my passport, whatever it is. So, okay, that's not really too hard. Some extra documents for certification. If you're married, you have to upload your marriage certificate. um, or if the business is owned by a surviving spouse. So let's say a business was owned by a veteran, the veteran, unfortunately passed away, but the surviving spouse takes over. They don't lose that veteran certification. That business doesn't lose that, or they don't lose that qualification. That surviving spouse can still be considered a veteran for this business purpose. So especially if they have not remarried, like it says here. That's part of the rules. And then if there's a caregiver involved, usually for service disabled veterans, same kind of thing. The caregiver has some power of attorney. They have some control because the service disabled veteran is severely service disabled. They can be the one handling this, and so you're gonna have to upload proof that there's a formal caregiver. Okay. And then you get to this screen after the contributor invitations. So, like I said, these are the people all the owners. So, you as the majority owner have already filled out your part. But let's say we were in that situation where you own 60 and two other people own 20%. Those two 20%ers, their names will appear here. And you will have to invite them to contribute to the application. So they're going to have to set up an account and go through the ID verification and all that. And they're going to have to upload and whatever proof they need to upload. The questions are different depending on who they are in the company and what they do. So I don't have any screenshots of that. And then also that one page where you listed the non-owners, like the managers who don't have ownership percentage, but they're decision makers in your company or board of directors people. They're going to need to be invited and their names will be listed here as well. In my case, when doing this preparation here, this screenshot, this was a sole proprietorship with just me. So there's nobody else. And that's why there's no names listed there. But if you have other people in your company that need to be invited, their names will be listed based on your answers to the application screens previously, and then you'll have to invite them. Okay. All right. Click next. Um, so in my case, there's no one to invite, so I can just move on to completing the application. You won't be able to complete the application if you have other people that you need to invite until they complete all their part. Once they've completed all their part, then you'll be able to complete the application. So once that's all done, you'll get to this screen. You got to read the privacy statement, click next. And then if there's a mistake in your application, if something's incomplete, it'll let you know. In this case, it told me all the cards haven't been filled out completely, and there's also some documents that weren't uploaded. And so you can click the little blue here that you see in the error message there, and then it'll show you, okay, here's the cards, and then you'll see, okay, everything's complete. Oh, that one still says in progress. So you just click, in this case, business information, and go back and fix what you were missing on that card. So that's kind of how it works. If it was the downloads, like I didn't show the screenshot here, but you can go back to the download section and then, I'm sorry, upload section and upload whatever document you forgot to upload. So basically it won't let you complete the app, submit the application until it's complete, until all the screens have been entered and all the documents have been uploaded. So, but if you don't get this message and everything is good, you're just going to scroll down. There'll be this attestation. And so there'll be a little, you got to read that. Okay. Basically, you're saying, yes, everything I've said on my application is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. And if I'm lying and misrepresenting things, there are some penalties and not good, 500 grand, 10 years in prison. So make sure you're telling the truth on this application. And click click that little I hereby certify, click submit. And then they want to make double sure you're ready to submit. So a little box will pop up, says, are you sure? And you just say, yep, click submit. And then it takes you back to your main menu, basically your dashboard, your home screen, and it shows that, okay, it'll have your applications there and it'll show your application number. In this case, it's 115788, and it'll say submitted. So now my application's been submitted. On the left side of the screen will be, there's that blue manage button, by the way. There'll be three little dots you can see. And if you click those three dots, you can view or withdraw your application. In my case, since I just did this to get you screenshots, I just immediately withdrew it. So I'm not going to get a fine 500 grand or go to jail for 10 years. So, all right. This is the email you get as soon as you submit. And so it comes from management plus UCP at certified@sba.gov. And they basically tell you your application submitted, they tell you your application number, and now there's a screening process underway. And so and then analysts will begin review to ensure your application is complete. So they tell you, please monitor your emails. Not only do they send you emails, but they also use this message function. I think it's coming up on the next screen. So, okay. So yeah, to follow up, you can check your messages. So when you log into your account, you can go click messages, and then it'll show you a list of all the emails that have been sent to you. So if you have a good email filter, that's, weeding out emails, which happens a lot of government emails go straight to junk or go straight to spam. Might want to check your messages here just to make sure you don't miss anything. All right, so where to get help? This is where you can get help. So there's a knowledge base. There's a website there for the My SBA knowledge base where they have all kinds of frequently asked questions. There's an application preview. There's how-to videos, user guides, all kinds of stuff. If you need technical assistance because there's a problem, maybe just logging in beyond the ID problem that I was talking about, but maybe there's some kind of other issue. There was a time, I think, when applications for Guam were being blocked because they weren't being counted as US. So that's possibility. That's a technical thing. There's a little link there at the bottom that you can click on. But basically, the help people are at the 1866 number on the top of the screen here and at certifications@sba.gov. That's where you go if you need some help. And of course, we can help you as well if it's not a technical issue that's going on. Okay. Now, if you want to see who the current veteran-owned small businesses are or service sale veteran-owned small business, there's a great website you can go to. You can go to the small business search and you can look it up. And we're going to go do that right now. So I'm going to jump over to the internet. So give me a second here to load that up. So you should be seeing the small business search on your screens right now. So I'm just let it load up for a second. If you're not seeing that, please feel free to unmute yourself and let me know. Okay. Nobody let me know, so I think everyone's seeing it. So what you can do is go here on this screen, and basically this is SBA's Small Business Database, is what this is. Um, I don't know, I saw a raised hand pop up. Does somebody have something to say? No, we're good.
No, sorry, that was me. Wrong hand.
Okay, no problem. All right. Okay. So this is SBA's Small Business Search. So this is a great site if you want to look up yourself, if you want to look up possible teaming partners, if you want to look up your small business competitors and see how they are talking about themselves to the government. This is also a marketing tool you can use. Prime contractors go to this website to look for possible subcontractors. Contracting officers, contracting officials go to this website to see, do some market research to find out if there are small businesses in the area that can do whatever work they're looking for. But you can also use it to find out who's certified as what. So I'm going to go here, and instead of doing a name search or something, I'm just going to do this skip directly to search filters, and that's going to just basically take me to the top of the screen. And so I got to kind of scroll back up. And then here's my search filters. So I can search by location, certifications, which is what we're going to do, by NAICS codes, keywords, all different things. So if I wanted to see all the, let's say, service-disabled veteran-owned companies in Guam, let's start with that. So I would just go here and it's set its defaults to everybody, all the states. So I'm going to turn that off, and then I'm going to go down a little, and I'm going to pick Guam. And now it's showing me everybody in this database that's from Guam, basically 759 small business. But I only want to see the ones that are service disabled certified. So I'm going to go here and pick service disabled certified. And I'm going to click that. And we're going to see we have 31. And so here they are. They're kind of like in a random order. But if I wanted to put it in alphabetical order, I can go here to the right and I can say put it in alphabetical order. And there we go. And then I can see who they are. And so you might see your competitor here, or maybe you're looking for a small business to partner with. And so you can see a little bit. You can look in this column here, their capabilities narrative, and kind of get an idea of what they're doing. For the ones who left it blank, I highly suggest you don't do that. You go in here and fix that. And you can do that by signing in on the top right. And if you've never signed in here before, you will have to create an account and do all that. But once you get in there, you can tell the government, again, all kinds of information about your company. It's a great marketing tool and it's free. And there's no cost to do this. It costs a little time, but there's no monetary cost. So maybe you're looking for someone to help you with duct work. So I'm going to go here and, oh, this guy's HubZone certified. So I can click here, BMA services, and then I can read more about the company. And I can have some contact information. I can email them. I can call them. I can see if their HubZone and services enabled as well. So they got HubZone 2. I can see their primary NAICS codes. And then you can also go down here and see if the performance history. A lot of companies don't put their performance history. Again, this is free marketing. So if you have contracts you've completed, you can input it on this site. And so people can have an idea of what you've done in the past. And again, marketing purposes. So, okay. So that was Guam service disabled veterans. Let's change it and let's look at what we got in Hawaii. So I'm gonna deselect Guam and I'm gonna pick, oops, it went to, let's, okay, let's do that. Just Hawaii. And what do we got? 192. That's a lot. All right. And so I'm gonna put it it's in random order now. Put them alphabetical if I want. You can keep it in random order if you want to. But again, you can just go through here and look for the different businesses. Let's see what's going on. Wow, a lot of people not filling out their profiles here. Definitely you should fill out your profile. And when you're doing your profile too, there is this part here where you can hide your name, you can hide your email address and all that. Again, this is a marketing tool. And so I don't know why you would want to do that. You really should be, I would think, available to do, teaming things, to available to be a subcontractor. And if you want to do that, you're going to need a way for people to contact you. So, And then you can also have your capability statement there that people can click on and look at your capability statement. Let me just click this and see what happens. There you go. So you have more information about that company and the differentiators they have, what their core competencies are, the little past performance information, so and where their coverage is. So there you go. I don't know who this is. Apex Group LLC. Interesting. Supply of medical, computer, IT, general products. Okay. So that's what you can use that for. Let's since we did have American Samoa on here, let's see if I can let me do this a little different. I think there's a way to clear all the filters so nothing gets confusing. Yeah, all right. So let's turn that off. There's American Samoa. So we got 35 small businesses registered for everything. Now if we narrow it down to service-disabled veterans, there's 3. All right, you 3 from American Samoa, you guys need to do your capabilities narrative. But here we go. Wow, Hub Zone 2 as well here. These guys are on the ball. 6th Avenue Group. So anyways, this is the website you can use to look up other companies that have the same certifications as yourself, look up potential teaming partners, look up you look up your competitors, look up potential subcontractors if you're a large business. And again, contracting folks use this site as well. So, okay, let me go back to the PowerPoint. And we will open it up for questions. So I'm going to stop the share. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey Boris, I have a few.
Sure.
Yeah, so sorry, I was in the middle of a few things. Sorry if you answered it, but so
No, no,
for
no problem.
the vendor or subcontractor to get certified, they don't upload anything. It just compares to to the VA, or was there something they had to do?
No, they do have to upload things about their company, like their articles. They have to proof of U.S. citizenship,
No,
things
no,
like that.
yeah, I understand
Yeah,
that, but
but you don't
I'm
have to
sorry.
upload a DD 214 or anything like that. They
So
will
for a veteran owned side, it's just fill out that stuff and
fill
whatever
out
the
that
requirements
stuff.
that are normal.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's gonna go. It's linked in because the VA used to be the one doing the certifying, and
Mhm.
but this program got transferred to the SBA a few years ago. So that connection's still there. So it's connected to the VA, and so whatever name, address, social security number put in there, it just needs to match what the VA has in file, and then they'll know automatically if you're a veteran or not. Yeah.
Okay, and then for the SDVOSB, you mentioned that they just need to go through, again, excuse my ignorance on the process, but you said there is a process where they can get a certain percentage. So even if they know they don't qualify and they just get through and it gets a 0%, they are eligible for SDVOSB. I hear that right?
You did hear that right. That is 100% correct. So as long as you go through the rating process and you get a rating and they rate you as 0, you qualify. Yeah.
Wow. That's news to me. That's great to know.
Yeah, I know a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that, but it's in the rules. It says from 0 to 100%. So
So it's pretty
if
much
they
like,
didn't
yeah.
want 0, they would have said from 1 to 100%.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good to know. And then
Yeah.
the last one is, so I know you went through the whole process of a brand new setup, right? So if there's
Yeah.
a vendor that is it just in their dashboard, if they're just going to add it, or is there a different process, or how do let's say they just didn't at time of sign up, they didn't apply for it, but they want it now
A time of sign up of what?
of their Sam account, right? Because that was a sign up for Sam account.
Well, Sam's a different thing. Sam's a different website.
Oh,
So
okay. So this is not Sam.
no, you're talking about to get this veteran certification.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is done on the SBA site. It's called certifications.sba.gov. Yeah, this is an
Oh,
SBA
so
program.
they're not married. Oh, I thought they were all on
Yeah.
one now. Okay.
They're only linked by the SBA site pulls the data over from SAM. So
I
you have to
see.
claim your business. So it pulls your business over, gets that information over. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Sorry, all those fonts look similar to Sam, so I assumed they were the same,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
it's
understand.
different. Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I guess my question to that then, if they signed up in here and they didn't initially they didn't initially apply for it. I imagine it's relatively easy for them to add that application for
But yeah, so
service
you register
disabled.
in SAM, and then you can, once you get your cage code, right, and your SAM registration is all complete, then you can apply for this. But if you don't apply for it, that's okay. You can wait and apply for it whenever you want. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
great. Thanks, Boris.
Thanks, Desmond. And by the way, everybody on the call here, Desmond works for what, Black Construction?
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I just want to know
So are
what
you looking for
you
any
guys have to go through.
subcontractors?
Always. This is when this popped up, we're like, we have to jump in on this because we are looking for service disabled, veteran owned, and definitely service disabled. Very, very important role or classification for us. So, but also
Yeah.
we want to understand, kind of the trials and tribulations that the
Yeah.
subcontractors have to go through, so we can understand and explain whether it's easy or we might understand it might be difficult. But yeah, we want to kind of put ourselves in your shoes as well. So that's why we're here.
Right, right. So there you go. Everybody, if you want to subcontract with Black, go reach out to Desmond.
Yes, please do.
Go to their website. I think you guys have like a subcontractors like sign up page, right, on your website.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so I could put my email address. Somebody else will be taking over the small business side of things, but
Oh,
I'll
okay.
still be somewhat involved. But I'll put my
Okay.
email address here in the chat, and they can initially reach out to me, and then we can get them in
All
touch
right.
with who will be taking over. Yep.
Great. That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. I see Justin's got his hand up now. Justin is our SBA guy. So he's going to correct all the wrong things I said. So here we go.
No, no, you did a great job there, Boris. Um, no, so yeah, to reiterate a few things, Boris is correct. When you look at that capabilities narrative, we see it blank. So, to introduce myself, I am a procurement analyst for SBA, called Procurement Center Representatives. I get to look at the market research that's happening, and I get one shot basically to check that out and review it when a contract goes full and open competition, which basically means it's open to everybody, large business and small business. My chance is to basically look at that and say, is there small businesses that could do that? When I see market research and it's pulled that same screen and there's a screenshot, typically, and I allow it because how else can you know without going to each one of those people? If they're a blank capability statement, they're basically out. So when you go to Samoa, um, it's a rule of two. So really, we only need two businesses to do that. But for Samoa, there was three businesses there. All three of them had a blank capabilities narrative. So that is it's important. Also for keywords, I would say add some keywords in there. I was doing some research the other day for security clearance. So unless it was typed in your profile manually or added as a keyword, that those filters go to zero really quick. So we want to try to make it as robust as you can. Always add that capabilities narrative that clicked on the link and that is expanded. So I do require a lot of stuff like that. On the market research. But yeah, SDVOSB and VOSB, it is being used and leveraged. And also for companies like Black Construction, when they win a big prime, I'm also the guy that looks at their subcontracting plan. And because they also, just because large business wins these contracts, they have to have a certain percentage of small business. So, that's another option too, is you don't have to be prime contractor. But large businesses also have those requirements. So feel free to reach out to me as well if you have any questions. And yeah, and then what the key thing on Boris mentioned, that SDVOSB, VOSB, click both buttons. And I don't, again, the logic is if you're an SDVOSB, you're a VOSB. But I think in the system, what it does is it creates two things for them to add in the system. And post submitting a SDVOSB, they'll tell you to submit another VOSB application. So to avoid the
I want to
redundancy
do
of
that.
doing it, just click both of those buttons. If and the 0% rating, to touch on that, I think the idea behind the 0% is that you can go in and get a 0% rating because sometimes veterans are exposed to things and the disability may not have manifested in a certain way, but they can tell that you're in the system and that there's enough um, that it may be an issue. And so I think that's where, it does allow the 0%. But if you didn't go through the process, you don't have any rating. So go through the process and do that. So that's my 2 cents, but I'll drop my email in the chat as well.
Oh wow, thank you very much, Justin. Thanks for those yeah, good tips there. And definitely, I mean, going back to that the small business search, it is free marketing, and there's really no reason not to take advantage of that. So, whatever fields you need to fill them out. Oh, just can I ask just one thing, Justin? When you do a search, do you typically search by keyword or NAICS code?
So it depends if you. I try to get a broad sweep. So I
Okay.
start with NAICS code. Um,
Yeah.
and if we're looking at certain things, everybody likes to add all the NAICS codes. So if I get too many, then I kind of the next filter I add is primary NAICS, right? That sort of limits it down. Like construction is a good example. An
Yeah.
electrician will put 236.220 under their non-primary NAICS, so they pull up. But if we're looking for an actual 236.220 general contractor, you want to do that as prime. And then
Right.
I add in those keywords. And again, on that filter, there's two things. There's that search bar, and there's also a keyword search.
Right.
So I usually it's redundant for me, but I check both because sometimes it goes to zero way too fast. And these government agencies like to say, "See, there's zero businesses that can do this because I put a filter on there that
Oh,
says."
right, right. Yeah, I see. I see now. Okay.
Yeah, so I try to get a broad scope, and construction is another one where like historical, there's certain things within there. A general contractor to me is a general contractor, but if you have specialties, say historical designations or those, be sure to add those and clearances because that does matter, and they'll pull up. So you have to manually enter those in your capabilities narrative, and then you also have to add those keywords if you're using the drop down filter. So I think that is a bit clunky compared to the older version we had where there wasn't those two features. Um, like I said, you can make your profile as good as you want to be, as good as you want it. And I think that's how you add those key factors. And the veteran, I will mention this too, the surplus program. In Guam, in Hawaii, and Samoa, probably a little bit limited to what is available, but there is a portion there and I used to work in the 8A program. We had the same program, and then with the VA, it opened it up. But you can get equipment for like pennies on the dollar. I mean, there's vans that I saw. They're on base, and so they drive back and forth across the runway. Sure, it might be 15 years old, but it's only got 30,000 miles. It was well maintained, and you can pick it up for a couple grand. Now you can't buy that stuff and sell it.
Right.
There's like the way the title is held and stuff. It is pretty restrictive. But if you're using it for your business, I mean, floor polishers, things like all this equipment that they have, it gets surplus. And there's I've seen people buy airplanes, cranes, backhoes, trailers, dump trucks, office equipment, partitions, all kinds of stuff. So definitely check that out if you're growing into a space and need that. It's a very unleveraged and underutilized aspect of the program.
Great, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for that as well. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna ask Andra, do you want to say anything before we sign off here? If there's no more questions. Doesn't look like there's any more questions, but Andra, you want to say anything?
I'd like to say that was a really nice treat to have a SBA person on. Um, excuse me.
That's the
Um,
nicest things
but
anybody's said
yes,
about me lately. So thank you.
you're welcome. That was nice. I wrote out a whole bunch of little things, best practices when they go into the small business search. So that was really good. Just want to announce again for those who haven't already gone through the SAMS.gov, or if you know other people who should be going through it. The next time that we're working with the Guam Apex is on November 18th when we're offering that SAMS.gov. But I would highly recommend if you guys need extra help as veterans, we're here to help you with your business plans. If you're getting ready to transition out, or if you're already out and a veteran, the Veteran Business Outreach Center can assist you, as well as Small Business Development Center near and around you. But there's a lot of help. So even if I'm sure a lot of you do feel alone when you're going through the process, just know that there is a lot of resources for you to tap into. And if you are moving back to the mainland or even to Puerto Rico, we do have areas, where we can assist you. So reach out, always tap into the Guam Apex. They're wonderful. The SBA, we have a great SBA here in Hawaii at our district office. Just know you're not alone on this journey. And thank you so much, Boris.
Thank you, Andrew. And also, by the way, if you don't want to wait till November to register in SAM, we can help you with that. Or you can go to our website. I mean, not our website. You can go to our YouTube channel and click on the videos there. And there is a SAM registration video. You can watch that, and that'll help you with that as well. And of course, you can reach out to us. Also, with the small business search that we were discussing and all the great tips that Justin gave us, we do a webinar on that small business profile and small business search, just that itself. And that webinar is recorded and it's also on our YouTube channel right now. So if you want to take a look at that, you can do that. All right. Well, next week we got, I know Victoria will know. I'm putting her on the spot. I think it's HubZone, right?
Yes, how to get HubZone certified.
All right. So next week, 10 o'clock, Thursday, Guam time, we'll be talking about how to get HubZone certified. Same website. It's just a little different procedure. There's a whole section just for HubZone that deals with employees and employee payroll and things like that. And so we'll talk about that. So if you're interested in getting HubZone certification, check us out next week. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. And if you're in Hawaii, what are we at? Afternoon? Something like that.
Yep. At
Yep.
the end of the day. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Mahalo. And si Zeus Masi.
Hey, very good. Zeus Masi. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.